Tom, would you trade Kyle Shanahan? Raul Davis traded John Gruden.
You know, how many years ago did I mention to you I would swap Kyle out, get some more picks and all that, and go with somebody else?
What do you think about Ben Johnson as a potential replacement? Ben Johnson over in Detroit.
I like what he's doing. Now, his agent kind of blew up his opportunities last year a little bit because he got a little bit greedy. He made some outlandish public comments that just turned off probably a lot of GMs and owners who were in the job hunt. But, Ben may decide if Detroit doesn't go all the way this year, now would be the time for Ben to move.
What about Bill Belichick?
Okay. Bill would have to change his whole coaching MO to come work. I tell you what, the way Tom Brady handled Belichick, with respect to how Belichick handled Brady, I don't see Brock Purdy being that guy. See, I don't see Brady had the chip on his shoulder. I'll be damned if that's going to happen. I mean, I would not want to handle Purdy like that at all. I don't think you can do that. I'm not a fan of that kind of coaching.
I see what you mean. Like Belichick's style of coaching was for a different era of player. It was much, yeah.
He coached a lot like Parcells used to coach. And I don't think that flies in today's game. I would not want to be coached that way. Oh, my goodness.
It's just a lot of negativity as opposed to guys like Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay who are just relentlessly positive.
You cannot beat people up and then expect them to have an open mindset and to be positive and be enthusiastic about it. There's a difference between coaching and criticizing. And that's a thin line. A lot of today's players, these young guys making the millions, have had a lot of hot air blown up their skirts since PV football, high school football, college football. They got agents blowing smoke about how great. I had one offensive line coach tell me, when you talk to a player nowadays and you're trying to coach them, they think you're criticizing them because they've never been coached before. So they don't know the difference between, hey, I'm coaching you, I'm not criticizing you. And see, that is the fine line. And you've got to establish that and be able to communicate with the player and say, okay, this was good and all that. Now, look, let's try to do a little bit more of this the next time, and that may help us get a little bit more to where we want. So I'm going to try to coach you up. I'm going to be positive with what I say, and then I'm going to say, okay, now let's look at something else, or let's add a little bit more to this, what you're doing, and kind of cultivate that kind of mentality where they want to listen to me after I gave them something positive about what they did, rather than just jump out oh my God, you idiot, what the heck were you thinking? Then all of a sudden their hands are over their ears and their minds are closed and your communication's gone.
And what's interesting is Kyle Shanahan's supposed to be a new age coach, but he's very Belichickian. He's very critical. And I think he wore down Jimmy Garoppolo's confidence over time to the point where he has none left. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Brock Purdy. Daz is a new member. Propa says we lost to B Team Rams, and some fans are saying save CMC for NFC Championship game. His services won't be needed if the team is watching on the couch. Real quick, not a doctor. You haven't examined Christian McCaffrey, but what is your sense of what's going on here from afar?
I've been around players who've had Achilles tears, Achilles strains, and all that. And this is, I tell you what, I would not be shocked if McCaffrey doesn't come back at all this season. It would not surprise me in the least. In fact, if I'm a coach for the Niners, I don't even have him on my whiteboard. He's over there in another pile where the injured players are, and he doesn't enter into my mind at all in my configuration of future plans. If he shows up, how long is it going to be able to take him to get back into shape? How explosive is he going to be? How healthy mentally is he going to be able to allow himself to try to be explosive without the fear of doing more damage to the Achilles?
Dazza says, if Niners are moving towards more passing and paying Brock Purdy, can we upgrade the center and right tackle position so Brock's not running for his life?
Well, there's a lot to be said that, that's why to me play action is so key. because that helps your offensive line buy some time because they make the defense have to play the run fake and the run block initially before you recoil and set in the pass set mode. So that now I make the defensive line also have to change gears from a run defense reaction initially, then on the move during the play going on, they have to get into a pass rush mode after playing the run fake. That buys me more time. And hopefully then also the run fake not only slows down the rush, but it might help your right tackle a little bit rather than just dropping him straight back and opening up the floodgates.
Let me ask you this. We know the Niners use a ton of shifts and motions. It's kind of their calling card. It's their signature. And that helps on runs and play action passes. It creates confusion in the defense. On straight drop back passes, whether it's from under center or from the shotgun, does motion help the offense?
Well, I think a lot of it also hinges upon the experience of the quarterback to be able to discern on the move the change the defense is going to make. Now, see, and I'll go back to this. Like in third down situations with motions and shifts like that, Jim Plunkett was a guy who knew where the defense was, and he would kid me when he goes, Tom, now you run motion across the formation. I knew where all those 7 DBs were, but then once you ran the motion across the formation, everybody moved. And then now on the fly, the ball's being snapped. I've got to figure out where the hell are they all now. I want them to line up. I want to identify them. I want to know where they are, see the disguises, see the matchups, and now let's play ball. So now, depending on Brock Purdy's experience, how well is he at reanalyzing what the defense is doing? And as I motion guys across the formation, you're going to have, sometimes you have a corner travel, sometimes you have the secondary squirm, and they bump coverages. Now, can Brock handle all of that and still make a good determination of what's going to happen, anticipate the coverages, and be able to know where to go with the ball? If he cannot, then I won't do that for the kid. I'll play static football and let him analyze it and then play from there.
If I remember correctly, Peyton Manning liked static football for the same reason. And as we know, Peyton Manning was like the de facto offensive coordinator, calling plays, changing protections. Did you give Jim Plunkett that kind of autonomy too? And is that really important for a good drop back passing game?
He had that autonomy. In fact, people don't realize he called his plays.
Wow.
And then we would sub in once in a while and say, okay, on a certain situation, there was a play we wanted to run or a personnel grouping, we'd make a change up. But yeah, see, they know the game better than we as coaches know the game. I hate to say it. They're the guys on the field. They're the ones playing the game. They have the feel of the game. You're on the sideline and you got all these plays that you thought were great all week long, but all of that preparation is great. It's like boxing. You got a plan as a boxer, and he's got a plan as a boxer. Now, after he hit you in the mouth the first time, how good is your plan and what is your answer to that attack that he just laid on you? All of a sudden, that game plan could be out the window.
Coaches are such control freaks these days. Like 40 years ago, they were more than willing to let the quarterback take ownership of the offense and make decisions and call plays. And now it's like out of the freaking question. And it seems like if your quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo, I might understand making decisions for him and calling plays. But if you really think your guy is great, like the Niners seem to think Brock Purdy is, like, don't you want to empower him and put more on his plate mentally?
Okay, now here's a curveball I'm going to throw you. What would a Jimmy Garoppolo have been like if I let him call his own plays? If I have you take ownership and you have a vested interest in what you're doing, how is that going to impact your success as opposed to you being a joystick quarterback?
Right,
now,
because
until I give you that option, I can't make that determination.
Because by the end, he would miss a throw, turn to Kyle, make a face. He even said your plays freaking suck, man. So if he's completely uninvested from the offense, then what do you expect to happen? Anytime anything bad happens, he's going to point to Kyle, and Kyle's going to point to him, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I let you call the plays and say, okay, here, and we can practice it all week, and you've got your list of plays. We talk about it in the quarterback meetings. We talk about it in practice. We have no huddle. We have whatever, and say, okay, I can send you a play when you need something, but here's our 4 or 5 first down runs and play action passes. Here's our first couple dropbacks if you want to number your plays from 1 to whatever. Here's your menu. Go execute it. If you need help, hey, let me know. if you got it and we're moving the ball, I'm going to let you take it. You're driving the car.
Well, look, we're coming to the end of Ask Tom Walsh, presented by BetUS. But before we end, I want to just remind viewers, Kyle Shanahan, if he's watching, Kyle, Tom has challenged you to play your best 11 players on offense. Nothing against Kyle Juszczyk. He's getting old. He's no longer one of your best 11 players. You have 3 special wide receivers. Tom has challenged you to find a way, use your creativity, which we all know you have, get them on the field together a lot. Because when you don't, the opponent is thanking you. Tom, thank you very much for coming on the show.
I appreciate it, Grant. You know, the one thing, hey, I want them to be successful, you know.
Me too.
Let the players play.